And welcome, Lunch Pail Hockey viewers. It is Sunday, September 6th on a beautiful Labor Day weekend. I'm sure we're all enjoying a little time off. I'm here with President Grant Miller, producer Austin Cara. I'm talking about a big week in hockey this week. A lot of ups, a lot of downs, specifically for me. That's okay. We got winners and the Knights and Stars out of the West and Bolts and Isles out of the East. A lot to talk about. Boys, how we doing?
Doing good, Trent. There was definitely a lot of good hockey this weekend to watch. A lot of Game 7 action. Unfortunately, things didn't go all of our way, but we'll get to that.
Grant, how we doing?
Doing good, man. I'm glad you mentioned it was Labor Day weekend. Kind of snuck up on us a little bit this year for obvious reasons. It's good. I went and did some grocery shopping earlier. I saw like apple cider was out and stuff, like the local stuff. And
Yeah.
I threw on the fleece vest today for the first time, and
There you go.
I love this time of year. So I was really stoked. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, when the pumpkin breweries emerge, it's a good time of year. If the pigskin comes out, it's what you want.
Oh yeah, the local brewery in Springfield had like the Oktoberfest line like already in like stores.
I love it.
Yeah, you just turn to the page. I know this is a big hockey podcast, and hockey's my number one, but there's football on right now. Watch college football this weekend. The pros get going next weekend. I'm excited. I was a little worried I wouldn't feel as excited for fall as I usually would because of like everything going on, but I'm getting the vibes going.
I'm feeling the optimism through the screen, and I love it. And I'll tell you, it's a good time of year too. I had 2 fantasy drafts sneak up on me out of nowhere this week, and I was not prepared. But it's here we are. It's September again.
I'm out on fantasy football. I have been for a lot of years, so I'm not looking for this to be like a hot take.
I should be out. I don't ever finish higher than 5th place, so
I just can't. I don't know. I'm gonna sound like a hardo here, and I apologize. But there's 2 parts of this. Is one just gambling week to week is more fun than the
Agreed.
Fantasy slugfest. And then 2,
yeah, it's a slog.
I'm getting dumber. I'm getting more busier. I don't follow the league like I used to. When I was 14, 15, I knew just about every player. I was playing Madden. I knew the depth charts pretty well. These days, if it's not the Browns, if it doesn't directly, affect them, I don't really care.
I'm going to assume Matt Keeney is tuning in from Connecticut or wherever he is nowadays. Matt, if you're listening, we love you, baby. Go Browns.
I think he's in Boston.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of Boston, let's get right into it. We're going to open up with a little fan mail. Again, some fan mail out of the Louisville, Kentucky region. Love to see it. Great hockey area. Not really, but whatever. From Alicia Dunn. Wants to know who is to blame for the Avs Game 7 loss. That one stings. But really quick, this fan mail is sponsored by the Westlands High School Football Panthers. Lost their second game of the season to Kemper County. Coach Stanley sends his best. Apparently the Veer did not pull through this week, so that's okay. They're going to bounce back. So back to the fan mail. Who are we blaming for the Game 7 implosion in overtime? Car, you want to kick this off?
God,
I've got a few names I can throw out there.
Wow, that's a hell of a question. We were talking about him earlier. How about Ian Cole?
God, right? He just looks shaky.
Yeah.
It's every time he was out there, which is funny too, because normally I'm so uncomfortable when Zadorov steps out there, but he really. Yeah. He kind of became a different player for me this playoff series. Cole, just regression, man.
He had the opportunity to be the hero, didn't execute in overtime. But...
And how many game-changing penalties did he take during that series as a whole?
Too many.
You can't put your team in such a vulnerable position, and he did it over and over, especially when you're injury-riddled like we were.
Right. And we've talked about Ian Cole. We're a pro Ian Cole podcast, but this series kind of disappointing performance.
We are. And it's why you hate to see it.
Cole, yeah.
I don't know. Grant, what do you think?
Yeah, I think blame's a harsh word when you get to this stage of the playoffs, and maybe that's just maybe I'm just soft. I don't like.
Hey, Alicia, she's an aggressive hockey fan. She wants answers.
Yeah, well,
you know,
a hockey mom. I mean, yeah.
She's a hockey mom.
Yeah, so definitely, I get that. I mean, you kind of said it. I mean, it's just the injuries. They weren't. It's tough because like you're in the game 7, you have a chance to win. You can't just be like, oh, the injuries were tough. It was insurmountable. It wasn't. Like the peak was there. The chance to win was there. I think Dallas was just better on more nights, and that's tough to say. We really got to eat a lot of crow as a podcast.
Oh my God,
we were really high on the Avs, and we were really low on the Stars, and that sucks. But that's kind of playoff hockey, so that one's on us. We will just kind of learn.
Yeah, we definitely jumped the gun.
Yeah, I mean, damn guys. I don't know.
Yeah, that's okay. We're learning.
Yeah, we're doing what we can.
It is incredibly hard to predict playoff hockey, though. If we're
we did. Yeah,
2 weeks ago we were laughing at the notion.
That's true.
You were laughing, Trey. You were laughing.
No, you were too. Don't leave me out to dry.
I was drunk. Yeah.
I was the only one like, hey guys, I don't know. The Dallas Stars might come out swinging, and there was literally like 10 seconds of just silence from the entire crew.
Like,
Again, I am still the only one who said they have the best blue line.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
Trent did.
I will say we did cover. You never know what can happen. The tone's gonna be set early. Like we did at least mention that, and that was what played out. I mean, it was the Stars series from the puck drop, and Avs had their moments. Right. The Avs are a good franchise. They're a good team. I mean, let me dip into they're a good organization, and you see that with the young guys they've developed, the veterans they've kept around. That's a good room. I think, if Landeskog's out there, if a lot of those guys are out there, maybe it goes differently. But maybe. It still went in a direction they could have capitalized on, and they did it. But that's playoff hockey. That's teams move on from just the way the puck bounces and taking advantage of it. And certainly taking a bunch of dumb penalties doesn't help. So you can't really say
too much of a veteran team to be making those mistakes. It's
disappointing.
We're not an team anymore. There's a lot of playoff experience on that team now. You can't have it. As we saw, it's going to put you in a best. And it's like the whole series, we were climbing out of a hole, which was so frustrating.
Yeah, you never saw the Avs really dictate play because of they just felt like it was, 1 step forward, 2 steps back sort of vibes. But I don't know. Do you want to talk more? Or do you want to maybe? I know you're the host here, but I'm kind of interested in what your thoughts. Like, do you like this team? Do you like this room? Go on.
I hope Alicia's question is answered. We can kind of morph this into. We'll go over to the East here in a second, but I think I texted you this last week, and it's not necessarily this guy's fault, right? Because he was injured, but it is consistently. 3 years ago, we played Nashville. Erik Johnson went out. We lost the series shortly after. Last year, Sharks, he went out. We lost in Game 7 shortly after. This year, Erik Johnson goes out. I mean, you can see the writing on the wall. Every year, I love him as a player, but we cannot afford to miss him like we are. And his absence was noticeable. So
he's a big body.
I'm gonna put a lot of weight there. I don't like blaming one guy because it's a team effort, but
it's tough to blame a guy for getting hurt. It's more just indicative of how much he matters.
Yeah, and EJ, if you're listening, I'm sure you are, bud. I don't mean anything against you. I love you, but God, we need you around, man. Can't keep having that. I'm sure he's listening. Maybe.
It's possible. Who knows?
For sure.
It's possible.
It's possible.
Yeah. He's just he's trying to get his mind off the playoffs and scrolling through Spotify. It's like, what's this?
We can move over to the East if y'all are. We can talk about the Avs all day if we wanted to, but okay. I'm gonna make one more note. Nathan MacKinnon, good God, that man, he's insane. He deserved that win, even if the team didn't. I felt for him. You could see it visibly. He was emotional. So
yeah, what a hockey player.
His time's gonna come.
Yeah,
I'll miss having him in my life. I mean, it's been nice.
Yeah, He deserves a Stanley Cup, and he's going to get it. I think the Avs are going to make it happen here within the next couple of years. So
hopefully.
I mean, yeah, you hope so. You can't really predict that, but
I mean, they've got the talent.
Yeah, they got their wheelhouse right now. It's time to make moves. Speaking of, so a lot of speculation in on Joe about the goaltending situation, which was kind of a weak spot. I mean, we're averaging letting up 5 and 6 goals a night that whole series. Hard to win. I'm not opposed to picking up Price or the King, man. Even if it is for like a season, because they're both older, but those are two guys that deserve a Stanley Cup, and I think the Avs are, like I said, it's their time to go for it. So I say do it. You got the cap. All right, we're gonna move off the Avs. So let's move out east. And Grant, if you hear me, if you want to respond to that goalie question, feel free to jump in. We can take a step back. But let's move out east. Oh my God, the Islanders. First of all, I'm pretty sure I picked the Flyers, and they were kind of disappointing. But
I think it was less than. Actually, I think we all picked the Islanders in like 7. I think we did.
Did we?
I think we did.
We did.
I think we said that it would be a like gritty series, but ultimately we thought that the Islanders could probably outplay them in the long haul, which turned out to be true.
Yeah.
So.
What's funny about that game too is Islanders typically kind of a boring team to watch. Kind of, they're known for trap, defensive play, 1-2 goal games kind of thing. And wow, they were entertaining. I mean, they lit it up.
Yeah, I mean, I did not expect them to be able to match the Flyers' like scoring potential, their offensive power, but clearly something clicked on, and Trotz made it happen. I love Barry Trotz as a coach, so I think that the Islanders have a great shot moving forward with Tampa Bay, but boy, was that series against the Flyers entertaining. And I mean, for Game 7, the Flyers was pretty pathetic, I just have to say. I'm a big Pittsburgh guy. I'm not the biggest Flyers guy, but man, come on, you gotta play a little bit more ballsy hockey in a Game 7 situation there.
Yeah, as a team, if you don't show up for Game 7, it's disappointing. And I don't like the Flyers either, but I mean,
yeah, come on, man. There was a clear.
You gotta leave it out there.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, the Islanders, I think they have a shot at going to the Cup. They'll have their work cut up for them against the Lightning, but if they keep adapting the way they have been, I can see them winning that series in 6.
Yeah, I can see it. So some interesting matchups tonight. Stars kicking off puck drop with the Golden Knights, which I think is going to be a bruiser of a series, and then Absolutely. Islanders playing the Bolts. Grant, you with us?
Sorry about that. The internet's never good over here in this neighborhood. And then I was dropping the paint off to Uncle Jay.
All right.
So, hey, it's okay. No problem. I'll get you up to speed here. Because I want your opinions on a few things. So, talked about potential for Sakic bringing in an all-star goalie such as Price or Lundqvist. Do you see the fit there? I said yes. And then we talked about the disappointment of the Flyers not really showing up for Game 7, and also how surprisingly entertaining the Islanders have been to watch when they're typically boring. So a lot of stuff there, but I want your comments on all of it.
Okay, so with the Avs going forward with the big-time goalie, I would love to see that just because I do think like the Avs window is like as open as it can be right now. And I want the Avs to be good. I want the Avs to be competitive for the Cup. One, because Nathan McKinnon's awesome and it's a fun team to watch. And two, you're my good friend. I want you to be happy, and the Avs are doing well. It's good to talk to Trent about hockey when the Avs are really good. It's also good to talk hockey with Trent when the Avs are really bad too. You kind of want both ends of it. But then
that's entertaining.
Yeah, and then what was the Avs Flyers or the Islanders Flyers? I'll combo that. Let me first say shout out to Pete Blackburn, who covers hockey for CBS Sports. Very funny dude, good kind of Twitter follow. He had a comment last night during the game, which was the Islanders themselves aren't boring. They make the other team boring. And I think that's a very important distinction, which is how the Islanders play. Said. And their style will just kind of it's more about how they do what they do better than what any other team does. What the other team's game plan is, that was convoluted, but like the Islanders are going to dictate the way they play because they're just good at their style. Where sometimes teams have to, manage their opponents in a way. Like I'm not doing too good at this, guys. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
The Islanders are so confident in the way they play, they really don't care what the other team's doing, and then that messes up the other team. And you can try to boat race them. It's probably not going to work. You can try to muck it up along the boards against them. It's probably not going to work. And then they're just going to pick their spot. They're just going to find an outlet pass and, tuck it away. And the guys on the team could score. I mean, those guys individually can score, like Barzal, Lee. Those guys can put the puck in the net. And we have this tendency just to be like, oh, it's the Islanders. They're going to muck it up. Where who's going to score? They're all going to score. Like, they're all eventually going to get one in. And, I mean, that Game 7 was quintessential Islanders hockey. I'm rooting for them. I'm for sure rooting for them against the Lightning.
Agreed.
I am excited to watch that series just because of the contrasting style of play, and we'll see what comes of it.
Yeah, and that leads us right into our next segment here. We're going to go into picks. So 2 matchups left, but really quick, these picks coming from Grant and Austin, brought to you by Amory Donuts. Still the same offer, but a dozen glaze, get chocolate milk free. So all our fans out there, Amory Donuts, get in on that. All right, Islanders are playing the Bolts. What are we thinking, Kara?
I think the Islanders will come out on top. I think that, as Grant said, their style of hockey and the way they do it is just going to ultimately lead them to probably a Game 6 or 7 victory. I think that Tampa Bay obviously is a big threat. They have a lot of talent, but I think that, as we saw, I mean, Philadelphia had a lot of talent as well, and they weren't able to really capitalize because I think Barry Trotz is a great coach, and the Islanders will be able to adapt to most of the situations they come across, including whatever the Lightning can throw at them offensively. So I like the Islanders. I think they'll come out on top. Let's say Game 7 win. I think they can, if they can draw out the series. But who knows? I mean, you never really know. The Lightning definitely are still a threat. I don't want to say I think the Lightning are a bad team by any stretch of the imagination, but I think if it's a 7-game series, the Islanders will come out on top.
I agree. I'm thinking Islanders in 6 as well. There's something with Tampa Bay. I know they got some firepower. You got Hedman and this Svechnikov kid.
Point, Kucherov.
They just it seems like they're missing something. I don't love their chemistry.
I agree.
No.
I think that's a good way of putting it. I think the Islanders have definitely just better chemistry as a team. I think when they're firing on all cylinders, they're really firing.
Yeah, they mesh really well, and they seem to rise to the occasion. Grant, what are we thinking, babe?
In the Lightning's, to play devil advocate for the Lightning, I think the rest is really going to help them out a lot. I think they have an opportunity here to really come out fresh and on their toes.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think anything's gonna hurt the Islanders necessarily. Like, I don't think that, I think the Islanders are fine. But if Tampa Game 1 comes out hot and puts 2 goals up in the first period, then it's like, well, yeah, as they should, they're the Lightning. I think the chemistry thing you guys brought, that is interesting. I don't necessarily agree or disagree. I think if the Lightning can be rattled, then you can maybe kind of pull apart at the seams on them a little bit. And I know a lot of that's just my own bias as a Jackets fan when we saw them just fall apart last year. And almost kind of had them in that same position this year. It just didn't happen. But I think if there's any team that could just absolutely frustrate the Lightning and wear them out and get them just, banging their head against the wall, it's the Islanders.
Lightning have been almost famous for imploding. I mean, if there's betting odds on a team that you could pick to implode in the playoffs, it's been the Lightning over the last couple of years. So they always, they always seem to fold when it comes time to perform. And obviously, saw that as clear as day with the Jackets last year, and I think it's gonna happen again.
I think being in the bubble helps them though. I think they're able just to kind of insulate themselves from any of the noise and not worry about stuff like that, and really just focus on hockey and hockey only. Because they're good at hockey, guys. I mean, we're talking down on them a little bit, but I mean, if they could just play their game and the power play's moving and their goalies keeping everything on the net, I mean, they're one of the best teams in the league. So,
right.
I'm rooting for the Islanders, but this is if you're a team at this point, you want to win the cup, you're going to play a tough team, and the Islanders. And Barry Trotz, I think they have the pedigree, they have the talent to do it, but like you got to get through the Lightning. I mean, that's just kind of they're gatekeeping right now.
Yep. So we're all in on the Isles. Sounds like consistency there here at Lunch Pail Hockey. Let's move it out west to a series that I think is going to be a bruiser of a series, man. I could see hundreds of hits going on over the next week and a half. At the end of the day, I got to go with Dallas, man. Little brother's team obviously humbled my team, Colorado Avalanche. Godspeed. They've got players, man. They've got the big names that are clutch, and they showed up. I love the obviously Heiskanen kid. I already talked about him last week, and then the Gurianov. He's one of those guys that plugs in on the third line that could probably play on another team's first line. So they're a dangerous team with a lot of speed, and I don't think Vegas kind of put on a clinic there in terms of shots on goal against Vancouver. I don't know if Vegas is going to be able to keep up with them. So, but it's going to be entertaining. Dallas and 7.
I think I totally agree with you. It's going to be an absolute brutal slug of a series. And while the Golden Knights do have the firepower, I think that ultimately the Stars will be capable of kind of out-hustling them and just playing their game, especially if we're going off their performance against the Colorado Avalanche. I think that they're going to really set the tempo and come out swinging. So we'll see if that's true here in a few hours, but I think if they keep with what they've been doing, and if they do that well, I think they'll come out on top, game 6 or 7 situation again. So I really think the Stars have a chance.
Yeah, and just for the record, that's a spoiled fan base. Dallas deserves it. Vegas doesn't. You just got in the league, and you're going to Stanley Cups, and you're making conference finals every year. Like, get the hell out of here. Your fan base needs to struggle. Right?
Grant definitely agrees with you.
I know he agrees on this.
I don't want to seem like I have a big dump in my pants because, like, I don't know. I don't want to root against a team, but, like, yeah, it was insane, man. Like, you're just immediately, like, always competing for a conference title. And I think the Knights are going to run through the Stars. I just think they have the better team.
Really?
Top to bottom. Yeah, I don't think this one's. I don't see much of a series in this, honestly. I mean,
interesting.
I know we've dogged the Stars, but like I think the Knights are just so much better.
I think that they are the better team, but I think if the Dallas Stars' performance is anything to go off on, I think that they'll be able to overcome and like set the pace for the games.
I'm kind of, it's a weird spot. Like I probably want the Stars to win, but like I can't envision it right now. And hopefully I'm wrong. Like this series will be anything, but like I think the Knights are just so good.
I mean, they are.
I do agree with you. Top to bottom, no one looked better in that second round than Vegas. Yeah. I mean, they put on an absolute clinic, and somehow Vancouver squeaked out a couple wins there, probably because they're special. But
RIP to the homies, man. I mean,
the Nugs.
Yeah, listen, absolutely. After watching Game 7, I looked up and it was like the Nucks have 2 shots to Vegas, like 22. I'm like, yeah, that sounds all right.
Every game, man, they just got obliterated in the stat line.
Hey, got to give them credit for hanging on, though. Forcing a Game 7.
If that's what you want to call it, I don't know, man. That was, man. Yeah, it's Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes is the gift that keeps on giving. There's so much just like content of just the way that kid looks. just on the bench and stuff. Like I just love every Tyler Mott, JT Miller. Like I'm just gonna miss these guys. I don't know.
Gotta love the Hughes brothers being American. That's just great news.
Oh yeah, no, everything. Like I don't hate Toffoli either. Like I don't know. Like yeah, Demko just like can only do so much. I saw a tweet. I don't want to talk too much about like Twitter, but like someone was like, I heard there was like a tweet referring to someone saying like Demko should have like saved that one. It's like Demko could have caught a puck and thrown it in the back of the net, and there's no way you can blame anything on him. Just like the way he was playing that series. And
yeah.
They're only in that because he's like saving 50 shots. There was another one I saw where they're shaking his hand, like the Canucks are shaking their goalie's hands. Like every quote above the photo was just, "Hey man, I'm sorry." So
like, hey, sorry about that.
Yeah, you kind of let him down, guys.
That's funny.
He did everything he could. Yeah.
Hey, sorry for those 60 shots on goal every game. We'll get
I really thought we were gonna change it up, and
I don't know. We just kept with the same game plan. It just wasn't working. All right. I love the conversation. Good discussion about the second round and moving on to the next round. We're going to go into one of our traditional segments here, Hypothetical GM with Grant. We did have a trade this week that I want to get into and see your thoughts on that. But first, this segment, Hypothetical GM with Grant, is brought to you by Behold Furniture Manufacturing for all your summer patio needs, although coming up on fall now, so we'll see what new creative lines Cindy and Lyle Harris can make happen for us. So give them a call, furniture needs. All right, September 2nd, Montreal Canadiens acquired goaltender Jake Allen and a 2022 7th-round pick from the St. Louis Blues in exchange for 2020 3rd-round pick and a 7th-round pick. This trade to me screams the Blues are clearing cap for Pietrangelo. Grant, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean that's like the smart guy take. Probably. I mean, I saw this like come across my desk, and I kind of thought it was. I don't say it was fake, but I was like, let me double check that because like that I don't know, just like Allen in Montreal, like I don't know, like I don't hate what Montreal's building up there. It may seem like Max Domi might be on the move. I heard. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going on up there. I sure as hell don't know what the fuck's going on in St. Louis.
Pretty sure Domi just went to Minnesota.
Maybe you probably got a better read on these things. Sorry, I'm a bad GM right now. I like Max. Okay. I think he's a good. No, he has not asked for a trade. He just switched agents.
Okay.
But but like he you know. I wouldn't be surprised if his stock is definitely very high right now. So he's a guy that I could see like you can sell high on him, and then like I think he rooted against anyone not making it happen. But like if he regressed, I wouldn't be surprised. He's kind of getting to that age where guys kind of like he's fun to watch. Like, I love What did you say? What you cut out on my end?
I said I think the Blues won this trade for sure. Not really even what they acquired, because whatever the picks are, who cares?
No, they got something for Allen for sure.
And truth be told, Allen's been in their doghouse for years, man. It seems like he's always in the hot seat, and this was kind of you could see this coming. I don't really understand it for the Canadians.
I don't either, but like I also like. I'm not in their war room, so I don't know. I don't know what war room is.
Not in the trenches.
Yeah.
Gara, what do you think
about the St. Louis trade?
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't really have that many thoughts on it. I think that definitely, as you said, St. Louis won that trade, and I think that they're probably going to try and get some younger talent on their team. I haven't really been paying much attention to it, to be honest, but
it's tough right now to be a hypothetical GM because like playoffs are still going. I don't want to get too far into the silly season.
True.
I want to watch playoff hockey in September.
I mean, he's going to be the biggest UFA on the market if the Blues don't snag him. And this tells me they just made $5 million in space for him. If you're a GM, you're not letting him go. But that's going to come at a cost. I mean, he's going to get $10 million whether he stays with the Blues or goes somewhere else. Guarantee it.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good.
That's kind of, but I think he's worth it. I'd want him on my team. Grant, you got any other hypothetical GMs, or you think we're good covered for this week?
I'm torn between, like, they say if you want to see something, materialize, manifest itself, you got to speak it into existence. So I'm just going to say I really would love to see Johnny Gaudreau in Columbus.
All right.
I don't want to bring that up because then
this is a great
they needed a goalie.
One of my main topics of the week. So we'll go right into it. When is it too early, and give me some examples, for a GM to blow up a roster? And this is always the time of year where you feel teams get antsy. They lost that game 7, like the Avs, and it's, we got to blow it up. We got to make some changes. It's not the right combination. If there's a team that's going to do it, it seems like Calgary. They had and it's prime time. Like it's disappointing. It's the rest. It's like the perfect ingredients. Like they are the like prime example of a team that would do it prematurely. I still think it's premature. I don't think they need to. I think
I would agree.
You got Johnny Gaudreau and Sean Monahan on your team. Just be patient. But here's the problem: you get so much pressure as a GM from fans and everyone else and their mother that you feel the need to. And at the end of the day, it's almost like you're just making moves to make moves to say you did something, when the better decision is probably sit on it. At least that's my take.
I think a lot of it is. Yeah, I got it. I think part of it a lot is the Alberta media is driving a lot of this. I mean, it's a different world up there. We can't really relate as 3 Americans to just how much pressure those guys are in. Like, Johnny Gaudreau can't go out in Calgary. He can't. He's an American kid. He's it's a different level of kind of media coverage up there.
Yeah. That's a good
also,
point.
they kind of have a scumbag owner up there. I don't think he's running like a tight ship organizationally. He's trying to push for like a new stadium just because Edmonton got one. He's kind of got a hair trigger from what I know. And I think a lot of people do blame Johnny for their shortfalls in the playoffs. I remember seeing a lot of that after the Avs bounced him last year. Was, where's Johnny Hockey when you need him? And I don't know, maybe there's some merit to that, but like I'm going to be high on the guy, one, because he's an American. I think he's a good dude. I think he's a lot of fun to watch. But
Agreed.
It'd be a long shot. I think if there's any front office that would pull the trigger, it'd be Calgary. If there's any front office that would be more than happy to be trade partners with them, it would be Yarmo and company in Columbus. We've seen them for the past couple of years make big splashes in the offseason, really. I mean, bringing in Saad, 3 years ago, however long, 4 years ago, however long that was, and then bringing in Panarin. I mean, they will pull trigger to bring in some talent, and I think it's a pretty good matchup right now for as far as, hey, we can help you out, you want to help us out. I'm going to speak it into existence because I want them on the Jackets.
Right.
But again, like I said, I do think it's too early for Calgary. I'm going to keep rambling here for a number of reasons. One, I don't think any team should read too much into the playoff performances of this year because of the bubble, because of the layoff. And also, I know this affects different teams differently, but the cap's not going to change. So you almost kind of got to run it back if you don't have a lot of wiggle room. I don't have cap friendly on in front of me. I apologize. But I don't know. It's going to be – I don't think it's going to be as interesting as an offseason maybe as we're used to because of all those factors. And teams are probably more inclined to stay pat. But I can see the Flames – definitely mixing it up.
Yeah. And again, beating a dead horse, but yeah, it's too early. Be patient. You've got the right pieces. one team wins the cup every year. So you're telling me that the other 30 need to make a move because they didn't? Like that's
yes. Yes. Damn it, Trent. Yes. Come on.
That's just not the
You've
case.
watched this sport
So
long enough. They do need a goalie. I mean, they need to shore up the back end, and I mean, I don't know. I think one reason, yeah, for sure. The one reason not to do anything is like I don't think that division is going to be that competitive for a while. I think they kind of are in the catbird seat as far as like the top team out there. I mean, Vegas certainly will always be up there, but I mean, I like Calgary's future more than I like Edmonton's right now. Like, Edmonton's not going to blow it up, but
yeah.
like, I don't know. I mean, we're talking like two teams not in the same spot, but certainly we're going to group them together because we're pretty far away. That's just kind of how we talk about Alberta. But
a couple of teams that always seem impatient to me, and it reflects with their success, man, is the Sharks and Florida Panthers. I feel like both of those teams always have very impatient vibes when it comes to the off season, and probably look back on a couple of financial decisions
you throw the
kicking
Sharks
themselves.
in there?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
I'd agree with that.
absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Maybe at least the Sharks are like good, though. I mean, this year was not. I mean, this year wasn't. But I mean, we were so far removed from them being in the Cup, and I don't know. A couple years ago, they're good. I mean, at least they're good. I mean, yeah.
To Brent Burns, and looking back on that, it was
It's not
just
a bad guy to be. I don't know. It's not a bad guy to be tied to.
for $8 million. That's
I mean,
if
if the cap increases, that's not that bad of a hit because the cap's not going to increase. That looks worse than it is.
I think there's a lot of other players they'd rather have in that spot, not at $8 million.
I mean, you're probably right, but fuck, I don't know. I mean, listen, you go back 2 years ago, they're winning. Him and Joe have the beards, and you're like, we got to keep the good vibes rolling. And then
Yeah, and they went and got Carlson, which was a good move.
Yeah, I mean, they were gonna print banners up there, man. I mean, shit.
But I mean,
you're right about the
Evander
Panthers. Didn't the Panthers like immediately they fired their GM and shit? Like they can't keep a game plan together.
Yeah, they just keep stumbling
Panthers
around.
Yeah.
The Panthers have a different blueprint, I feel like, every season. It's like
it was supposed to be. They were supposed to be like the analytics guys the past 2 years, and now that didn't work. And I don't know what they're gonna do now. With just like North American.
And who were they building around? Ekblad, like he's been
Yandel. I don't know.
Yandel. Like, really, what is their? They don't have a direction. They just kind of exist in Fort Lauderdale.
They got Bob. They got Bob for $10 million.
They do have Bob.
Speaking of impatient decisions,
they made it to the They made it to the qualifying round, right? I mean,
yeah. So did 20 other teams.
That's not the best standard of success for a hockey team.
Yeah, I mean,
you're right. You're right, but like,
I mean, so does Chicago, and they had a pretty below average regular season.
do you think Chicago's not gonna blow it up? I think they almost did too well. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not gonna. They're gonna sit pretty. Honestly, I like some of their prospects.
I do
who's
too.
the kid out of Ian Mitchell out of DU?
Yeah.
He's
good. The DU connection, baby. Baby. I can also see like Florida just making like 2 moves weirdly and then just winning 11 straight next year and then being like the 2 seed in the Atlantic. Because this is how dumb hockey is. And like Bob
right.
Vesna. Like, I'm not gonna actively root against Bob. Yeah, I mean he's good. I mean I'm not gonna like dog the guy. Like, and they're always gonna kind of be in it if he's decent. And even like this year he wasn't that great. He still made like amazing saves. I don't know, he's a weird guy. He'll let in like 3 goals, and then you'll just be like, oh, he was the best player on the ice though.
I've got a team. So let me ask you this question: of all the franchises, what team do you think faces the most pressure from their fan base? I think there's an obvious answer.
People should say Toronto, but I think it's actually Montreal, honestly.
Okay. I was going to say Toronto. It's probably a coin flip. But couldn't you totally see them after acquiring Marner, Tavares, Matthews, and Nylander, all $10 million a pop? Because that is such a premature, impatient fan base. Could you totally see them blowing it up out of nowhere and just sending some of those big names flying?
That'd be awesome. That would be awesome, just for the pure chaos. I don't think they will, obviously, but like they're gonna have to do something. I mean,
I think they welcome the chaos, man. I feel like every offseason they are at the center of every big conversation concerning the overpaid UFA, or are they going to get a contract done with the RFA, whatever. It seems like they're always in the spotlight of drama.
Yeah.
I mean, we joke about that, like, as I keep saying this phrase, this podcast, I don't like it, but like as Americans, but like I'm sure if you're a kid that grew up in Canada, there's a draw for the Leafs. I mean, JT ended up there for a reason. I don't know, like
that's a team that better sit pretty, because I know I gave you a hard time over your Vancouver session, but dude, they're set. They need to sit tight, sit on what they got, and just watch the magic happen. That is a good team.
You hope. They are. We got to be a little careful. Success and development isn't always linear. I mean, we should mention that. I mean, I'll go back to a guy that I loved watching like 3 years ago, like Line A in Winnipeg. We were like, this guy's just gonna put up fucking points, and then
right
where we're at now, still like, I don't think there's anyone on the Canucks like that. But when you're dealing with young guys, man, I mean, there's gonna be some growing pains still. So we'll see. They're an exciting team to watch. I hope they keep it going, but I don't know. We kind of saw that with Marner this year in the qualifying rounds. But I think Marner's, an amazing player, but things don't break his way. I don't know. And there's a guy that not almost, but he was an RFA last year. I'm sure that these things can go one or two ways sometimes. I don't know. I think hockey's in an interesting spot when like when there's a good crop of young guys, man. It's so exciting. And for a couple of years, they were really didn't see that. I think there was kind of a lull between where it was Crosby and Ovi. And there was kind of a little bit of a dip. Maybe a lot of that was just Chicago with Kane and Taves just being really good. And they kind of like consumed a lot of the attention. And now it seems like every team's got a young guy that you just love kind of watching.
It's a good point. When the Avs were drafting, Connor Bleakley with their first round pick. Of course, none of you know who that is. Nobody does because he never made it. And I showed up to training.
I said yeah. Like I remember watching that. I'm like, oh yeah, there's an.
Yeah, he showed up to training camp his first year, just loaded up on cheeseburgers, looking like Phil Kessel. Wasn't ready to go. Naturally, pretty big waste of a first-round pick. That was, that was those couple of years there. Hard to build with that kind of production. Anyways,
it's kind of the evolution of the league a little bit. These young guys like really do just love hockey.
Yeah.
Or maybe 7 or 8 years ago, some young guys came in. It was still like a party atmosphere. It was still like. Maybe guys were getting distracted, which is fine. By all means, fellas, have a good time. But now, I mean, these young guys that come in, like the biggest, distraction is video games. They're not really timing it off and they're not letting it rip. So, with that, the quality of play gets good and guys are faster. It's fun. It makes it more fun. But it took us a little bit to get there.
Yeah. So, we're going to move on to our next topic, but really quick, I'm going to go into one of our traditional segments, youth hockey story with Trent. I'm thrilled for this one, boys. So we're, youth hockey coach. Your job is to create a fun environment, to teach them lessons. Hopefully they stick and just have fun with it, right? You want to be the classy guy. You don't want to be that coach. So we're in Highland Hills, Colorado. Which is a big rival. They're all juiced up.
Say the age group again, Trent, for our new listeners.
I was that year was Pee-wees. The year before was Squirts.
A little older.
With the same collection of kids. For the duration. So USA Hockey, in all their wisdom, took hitting out of Pee-wees. I don't know, 10 years ago, whatever, and we are absolutely crushing this Highland Hills team, which they hate us, man. Their coach, I could never get that guy to smile, and I would try to shoot the shit with him, and he would always just blow me off. But and their parents it was a tradition to yell at Coach Trent. So that was always a good time. Anyways, we're up like 8-0 on this team, and I'm trying to pull out all the classy stops, like 5 passes before you shoot, putting my offense men back on defense, don't get on a breakaway kind of thing. So about 10 seconds left. We got a kid, big kid, not like fat, but like just well built for his age. And we'll call him Mikey. Dude, this Highland Hills kid comes to the neutral zone, and we call this game the shot heard around the world, because you could literally hear the hit from downtown Denver up to Highland Hills. Mikey steps up on this kid from Highland Hills. I'm talking neck breaking, back cracking, skates are to the ceiling. His head is on the ice, and just crushes this kid. Hitting is not allowed in these games, granted. So it wasn't even like a gray area of hit. I'm talking like Brian Urlacher came through the A gap and sent this kid flying. Jesus and Christ. As a coach, I had never wanted to disappear from ice so fast in my life. And I feel so small on the bench. I know everyone is staring at me, and I immediately start getting yelled at. And I talked to Mikey after the game, and I'm like, what are you thinking, man? Like, it was a whole get up afterwards. Refs are getting on me, the other coaches are getting on me, and his response was, "Coach, I had him."
I love that energy, though. I love that energy.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, I'd say you did. I'd say you had all of them. Yeah, you got him. Like you got him. But we're not gonna do that anymore. I'm sitting there. You try not to you don't even know what to think at this moment. Part of it was kind of funny, and you can't laugh because you got to teach a lesson. But oh my God, yeah. So that's the shot heard around the world. That's Youth Hockey Story with Trent this week. Got any closing thoughts on that one?
I hope that kid's doing well these days. I love that energy.
I had half the mind.
What do you think he's doing? That's funny.
I had half the mind to drive this kid to the hospital with his parents. I felt terrible.
I
feel like as a coach, it would be really hard to be genuinely upset, but it would be a bad luck to be like, yeah, good
textbook.
Just illegal at the time. I'm trying to think. I don't know if I've ever was called. I was almost to a fault a very I didn't get called for a lot of penalties in football or rugby or anything like that. I kind of wasn't soft, but I probably could have had a little more edge in my game. I'm trying to think a couple of when you're in Pee-wee and junior high, some really questionable late call hits and how our coaches kind of responded with it. Football is a different culture where you just make them run after, where you're just all right, you want to be dirty, you want to hit like that, you just knock them out. We had our senior class. We were so notorious for late hits and unsportsmanlike penalties that our strength and conditioning coach built one of those weight sleds. And if you got called for a 15-yarder, you had to do 15 gassers with the weight sled on.
Ugh.
And it had the opposite effect. We started rallying around it. So if we got a unsportsmanlike for taunting, we'd be like, "Give me the sled! Give me the sled!" So we needed more guys like Trent in our Pee-wee days to take a side to this. You can't do that. I always got called for swearing. I kind of mouth like a sailor, and it always bothered me. I was a high school kid. I couldn't say fuck or anything on the field. I was a long snapper, and one time in JV, the ball just sailed way over our punters. I wasn't good at long snapping, so I went over and I was like, "Fuck." And, flag. Yeah.
All right. So actually, I got another story on top of that one. It's a quick one. And I think I mentioned this player last week. What do I call him? Grant, for your sake? Pretty sure I call him Grant.
Sure.
Pretty sure, yeah.
So Grant, we're at a tournament in Vail. And as you all can probably guess, Saturday mornings at the rink are hostile environments, man. These parents are... they put on a different face when they enter the arena. So I say the arena like it's a Bridgestone Arena if we're playing Pee-wee hockey. Anyways, we're second intermission. We're just kicking this team's ass, and Grant skates back to the bench, and it takes all of me to try not to hear what he says. And to everyone just goes, boys, we're playing like fucking bloody legends out there. And I had to turn around. I couldn't keep it together. I pretended like I didn't hear him. And I looked down the bench at Coach E, and we both lost it, man. I'll never forget that moment.
That's awesome.
But
That's
I
great.
pulled him aside later. I was like, hey, man, let's we're not going to say that anymore. I love the energy, though. Okay, Coach. Yeah. So naturally, the term bloody legend stuck for a long time. All right. Moving on. I like this transition. Actually, I like our transitions today, boys.
They're getting better.
Big topic of discussion here is I want to talk about your favorite moment, that camaraderie where the walls come down, there is no filter, and everyone around you in that NHL arena is loving life, and you're basically, it's all your family at that point. I mean, you got 92-year-old Jeff in the nosebleeds who's been coming to the game since '86, and Donna and sitting in front of you, and everyone's high-fiving. You don't know who these people are, but in that moment you're united. Could be a goal, could be a fight. Tell me about the biggest energizing sense of camaraderie that you've had at an NHL hockey game. And if it happens to coincide with, say, like a playoff clinching game, that's fine, but just keep the focus on the energy there.
All right, well, me and Grant have had our fair share of moments, but I have to say that one of my most memorable ones is me and my one good friend. His name is Gino Scarcelli. He's out in Cleveland right now, and I'm sure he's giving the pod a listen.
Name.
Hello, Gino.
That's a name. Right
Yeah,
there.
he was.
That's a name.
I think you've met him, Grant. Probably he was there for my birthday.
Probably.
When we were.
He gets bucks deep.
Exactly. So
He does.
we weren't at a live game because it was the Stanley Cup Finals. We were at a stadium party, but I think this still counts because it was when the Pens beat the Preds, and there's no one on the ice, but just the energy when Hornquist just slid that puck in the net just to close the game out. I'll never forget it. I was hugging some 45-year-old mom whose kid was right next to her, Gino's just spilling Yingling across everyone. It was fantastic. The energy was unbelievable. So that has to be one of my most memorable moments. Though Grant's experience in Pittsburgh as a Jackets fan definitely has to be a good mention there as well. I don't know if Grant wants to tell the story from his perspective, but
yeah, I got a couple. I really love this conversation, this topic. I kind of go on for days like this. I will transition quickly into the Grant and Austin and Pittsburgh, but then I got at least one more for my own. So it was around Christmas time, 2017. It was Panarin's first year in Columbus. Jackets were pretty good, and they were playing at Pitt, and Jackets don't really do well in Pittsburgh for obvious reasons, but I mean, it's worth the trip. It's a good time hanging out with Austin. And I've never been to PPG Arena before, so
that was your first time, that's right?
Yeah, so we were tying one off a couple days before, and we were letting it rip. We were younger guys back then.
Hell yeah.
But the Jackets come out hot, score too early. And I've been to my fair share of away games, but not Jackets Pens. And I know Austin probably wouldn't say that no one would ever say that the Jackets are the main rivals to the Pens, but I'm sure Pens fans are annoyed by Columbus, and I'll take that. That's fine for me. But for me, Pens are probably the biggest rival for me. So Jackets score, and just instinctually I'm up on my feet, giving a hearty yell. Whoever scored the goal, I probably clap, said their last name. There's no one else doing that though. And I see a couple Jackets fans, maybe 2 sections over, and I'm yeah, right on. And that happens a second time, and then I get a little more cocky. I'm let's go. I love Pittsburgh, baby. Yingling's $2. I love this, yeah. And the beers are flowing more.
Pittsburgh's a great town.
It really is, and I'm getting a little more loose now. I want to say there's a line of being the drunk 20-year-old guy that's an asshole. I made it pretty clear on the people next to us. Is like, listen, I try to be a respectful person. If I'm ever out of line, tell me. I don't want to ruin your guys' experience. And like to my credit, and I'm bragging here, at the end of the game, like the gentleman sitting next to us was probably older. He was 50, 60.
He was old.
Older guy.
Older.
And I was just like, I hope I didn't, cross the line or anything tonight. And he's like, no, you're very funny, man. I was like, oh, sir. But he's nice. He's there with his wife. But going into the third period, the Jackets are up 3-1. And I'm in the bathroom. There's a guy in a Jackets jersey, Ron Tugnut, who was the first goalie for the Jackets back in 2000, the expansion year. I'm like, Ron Tugnut jersey, let's go, bud. And he's like, oh, yeah, man, I love this. I was like, do you live in Columbus? He's like, yeah, I make this drive every time I can. I'm like, it's fucking great, isn't it? Yeah. And then other people are in the bathroom like, take it outside. Get him out of here. But I said going into the third period.
Bathroom experience at an NHL game is a close second in terms of camaraderie. Like, everyone's
absolutely.
You can come in and announce to everyone, all 50 dudes in the bathroom there, like, gotta get pucks deep, boys, and everyone like nods in agreement. Like,
yeah. They're looking fast. They're looking fast. What do you say?
Looking fast, because get the sticks moving. That's good stuff there.
So
if it was a bad,
I'll wrap this up. I'll wrap this side of the story. It's 3-1. Jackets take some dumb penalties. Going into the third, I'm like, if Jackets keep taking dumb penalties, like they're gonna lose because like Kessel, Malkin, like they're not gonna be able to do it. Sure enough, like Jackets take some dumb penalties. It's 3-3. We're going to OT. Whatever. And like every time the pinch score, they're like, yeah, you love it, huh? You still love it, buddy? I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking hammered, dude. So the Pens score quick at OT. Yep, they score quick, and like guys get off the bench. I was like, yeah, suck it. And I looked to the bench. Torts didn't move. Nobody on the Jackets bench moved, and I was like, they're gonna challenge this, and they're gonna win it. And Austin's like, no. I'm like, no. Look at the replay. And it's like it wasn't an egregious goalie interference, but like I don't know, whoever was in the crease for the Pens, like had made contact with Bob, and they're like, that's the rule, So they have to. The ruling on the field's overturned, goalie interference, and I celebrated that like the Jackets won. I celebrated that goal like the Jackets won the cup.
Yes, you did.
Knowing that I was being kind of over the top with it, And the Pens wanted a shootout. And then I immediately was just like, gotta point on the road. Road point. That's how you make the playoffs, baby. Like I was just never gonna let it give me down. I'm like, I'll see you guys at Mario's. Beers on me, baby. It's cheaper in Pittsburgh than it is in Columbus because you guys are dog shit, Just being like kind of a dick, but like, having a good time. So that'll be.
If you don't announce your coaching techniques to the whole crowd, did it actually happen? I don't think so.
Yeah.
You gotta let everyone know.
Yeah. So that was my. I almost don't want to go back to Pittsburgh because that was like such a fun experience where it won't live up to that.
That was great.
But I want to say briefly, this one, a recent one this year. My sister's fairly well connected in like the medical community around here. And a good amount of like doctors have season tickets, and through just my sister working through there and people knowing me, sometimes I get my hands on some pretty nice like club seats from just doctors who don't want to go to games on like a Tuesday or Wednesday. So this December, like some guy was out of town and told my sisters like, hey, does your brother want some tickets? I'll electronically transfer them to you. I got 3 in the club level. They don't let guys like me in the club level. So I'm going to absolutely jump on it. My roommate, Andrew, who's kind of yelled in the background of the pod, and then another guy we're friends with named Brady, who lives like just south of us. I'm like, dude, rally the troops. We're going to the Jackets game. We're getting club seats. And it's not hard to convince the guys to come, but certainly being able to say like, hey, I know it's a Thursday, but club level. And they're like, enough said. Let's go.
Game changer.
So we go. They're playing the Kings. So Jeff Carter's in town. So we're booing him every time he touches the puck. Fuck Jeff Carter.
Yeah. Naturally.
But it's also the Kings. So the puck's not moving, and all the goals are just like around the net. So it was kind of terrible.
That's one of the most boring teams to watch.
Oh, dude, it's brutal. So, but like Werenski came. It was like the first period. Like Zach came down, joined the rush, and just ripped one. Like I think probably like blocker side goal, and we're like, let's go. Like we got ourselves a game right now. Like you get a goal early, the other team's got to like open it up, And then the Kings came back and scored one like on a power play real quick. I was like, we're gonna have a little bit of a game. Sure, no, it was 1-1 basically until like the third period. It was late in the third period. Jeff Carter gets one in late. So, and it was Carter. So it's 2-1 with like 3 minutes left. And we're hammered at this point. But the people around us were loving it. We were like, it was 3 guys just like had like little, like we were just making friends with everybody. Like just how we doing? What would you like? I don't eat. Like, I just remember like high fives for just the dumbest stuff. Just like, got it out of the zone. Let's go. Good stuff. And like I think it was probably Corpy at this point. And we're just
a lot of Midwestern vibes going on.
Yeah, it was around Christmas too. It was around Christmas, so like just everyone's just good vibes. Jackets pull the goalie.
You guys, I think we need to take a moment to take a like this is lunch pail hockey. Like the name comes from these moments. This is as lunch pail as it gets.
Oh, absolutely.
Keep going.
Jackets pull the goalie.
Sorry, drink break. Take a drink.
Yeah, we'll just hydrate there. Jackets pull the goalie. Boone Jenner, who's our guy, I think gets one in like with like 10 seconds left. And like the Jackets don't really do well on the power play. They sure as hell don't do well when they pull a goalie. And most teams probably don't. It's it's a Hail Mary of a play, but they get one in, and we're like, when you like celebrate like kind of like dog pile. So like I'm high fiving the buddy next to me. I'm high fiving the guy like over him, and we're just yelling like yelling Boone. We're just Boone, Boone, and then it just feels so good. You roll that into that intermission, and then. Forcing OT is a lot of fun. Winning in OT is even better. Pierre-Louis Dubois charges down. Like it was like a 2-on-1 classic overtime break. Scores. Nets the winner. We let the party go right into our bar, right down the road from the arena. We're buying stinger bombs and shots for everyone.
Of course.
It dawns on me. It dawns on me. It's Thursday. I have to work. I kind of come to. I'm like, guys, I gotta get out of here. Yeah, I was working construction at the time, so I'm like, I gotta get to the shop at like 6:30. I might have overslept a little bit, but the boys covered for me. But I was then like just rolling around someone's like crawl space in the greater Columbus area, and the guy was a Jackets fan. Funny enough, this homeowner, there's like Jackets stuff on the wall, and I'm like. Some game last night, huh? And he's like, yeah, that was fun. I was watching on TV. It was like, I had a little too many at the game. He's like, oh, you were there? And I was like, yeah, club level. And he's like, huh?
You
were construction.
Yeah, you're waterproof in my basement. You were at a club level?
Yeah. I was like, yeah, man. They snuck me in there. Yeah. I love that. That was also like just one of the good vibes of this season. I had a lot of fun watching. That's kind of the top one.
Do you remember United Center when DU won the national championship? That dog pile.
That was kind of. I wanted to bring that one up because that one was really special.
That was an epic dog pile.
So. Trent leading up to this is like we're gonna be sitting with like some heavy hitters in the DU hockey community, so we gotta kind of like keep it together a little bit, and we did a good job. But by the time like the Pios were winning it, we're like hugging everyone around us. Like it's such an honor. Like these guys play so hard. But we were like DU Pioneer like #1 fans that night. We were driving the bandwagon. We're like the Worcester boys are here. Let's go Pios. Like we got them, And like we're like I'm hugging like Kevin Smith. And like we won the
College of Worcester was in full support of the Denver Pioneers that night.
Yeah.
The Fighting Scots and the Pios have never worked so well together.
This is the alliance. Yeah, no, just us, yeah. Yeah, Trent's crying, like, as he
I
should.
was not crying. Oh my god.
Not what I heard.
Yeah, this is so special. We just won it. We came together as a team, and it's so special. All right. So my 2 moments. Well, that one's definitely up there. But Kara, you're gonna be happy to know one of mine is in Porter Paints, and it was with Mitchell Zerniak and they ended up losing the game. But that first goal that Pittsburgh scored, I mean, I think, again, you want to talk about Midwestern vibes. All of Pittsburgh was in an eruption. And we were with this old couple next to us, and, we're all hugging, just like you said. Same, different day. Just the environment was awesome. And it was such a gritty goal, too. And,
Love it.
Mitch and I think, covered for our entire section with our volume, but, it was awesome. Yeah.
Love it.
And then my other moment is game 3, 2017. Preds came to town in that series. And it was one of those, I didn't expect us to win the series. We lost it, but we won that game 5-2. It was my first playoff game ever. The roof was coming off Pepsi Center that night. It was just, as you can imagine, just electric. So, and club seats too. Awesome.
That's right. I remember you texting us about that. That was a few weeks after you visited Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Also, a shout out to any Worcester Club hockey game where we just packed the stands. That's a special level of camaraderie.
That was great.
Worcester Club hockey.
Where the Sigs got kicked.
We never did. We were
out of the arena.
Not because of us. Not because of us.
Yeah.
No, we kind of know how to keep our shit together. No, hand to God, it wasn't. It was like other Greek groups that were going there and really didn't have their P's and Q's buttoned up, and kind of made a mess in certain areas.
Were insane.
Yeah, dude, it got fun when we really started leaning into it, and we played football. We didn't really get to have that kind of college atmosphere of tailgating and a game day. We knew we weren't gonna have that making the choices we did, but Worcester Club hockey, man, we'd get a cooler, middle of the winter, snow, tailgate it. We'd just be Frank and I just in a parking lot, be like, "This is awesome, man. I love this." It's just freezing cold.
This is awesome.
And then they banned you couldn't bring booze into the arena after a while. So then we'd go back out in the parking lot, and they're like, "You guys can't do this either." We're like, "What?"
It's we thought it was smart. Found a loophole. We'll just go in the parking lot. No.
We'll tailgate, and they're like, "No, you guys can't."
You're right next to a high school.
Trent wasn't involved in this. Trent was playing. Let me make it clear.
Trent was on the ice.
Yeah, I was playing.
Yeah, Trent actually played.
Club hockey. The rest who knew it was going to be such a commitment, and then a couple cracked ribs later, I was like, okay, I'm done. I figured we could close out with life lessons with Cara, unless you guys want to keep it going. I'm not opposed.
We've had a really good run. Our batting average is high right now. Let's not try to muddle it up. A nice short Sunday pod. This is nice.
All right, so last week my life lesson was a little bit more on the physical side of things. Said get a little sweat in, make sure to take care of your body and whatnot. On the flip side, my life lesson this week would be to make sure to keep your mind a little sharp as well. Don't forget about that brain. Get some reading done. What I've done is, I do a little bit of cardio after I lift on a little stationary bike, and I just started reading. Usually I would just stare at the wall blankly in pain, or just have some music in or something. But I started hey, I'm not doing anything. I'm just pedaling. Why don't I start reading? And I've already read a book and a half, and that adds up over the course of a week to a few hours of reading. So, if you can fit in some reading, keep your mind sharp, I say that's my life lesson for this week. Don't let that mind get dull.
I love it. There you have it. Lunch Pail Hockey, ladies and gents.
Yep. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure to give us a follow on Twitter at LunchPailH. And we also have a YouTube channel, same username, which we will post segments of our podcast and just, shorter videos and whatnot, highlights, if you will. So thank you again for tuning into Lunch Pail Hockey. We hope that everyone has a wonderful Labor Day weekend, even though this episode won't come out until Monday evening. So thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.